Peace and greetings. This is Artis. Unclench your jaw and relax your shoulders. So, today we're going to talk about mental clarity, right? Mental clarity. So, one of the first things you want to do is look at what you do when you first wake up in the morning, okay? And create a daily routine for yourself. Now, some of us don't have a specific thing that we have to do every single morning as far as our mornings change. Like Tuesday we're doing this, Wednesday we're doing that, Thursday we're doing this. So it's not the same. But you want to create, as much as possible, regularity. You want to create a system for yourself. Okay, you want to create your own discipline. Okay, if you don't create your own discipline, you will fall under someone else's discipline. Okay, if you don't create your own discipline, you're going to fall under someone else's discipline. Now, you're going to, if you work at a job, if you work a 9 to 5 job, you're already under someone else's discipline. You're doing what someone else wants you to do because you're performing a job, you're performing a task. So you don't have a lot of control over that. What you do have control over is what you do when you first wake up in the morning. There's a time from you waking up until you have responsibilities, as far as maybe taking your child to school or going to work or whatever it is. But there's a segment of time in the morning that you wake up that is yours. You need to create your own discipline in that time. Okay, you need to create your own discipline in that time frame, and this is going to help you with your mental clarity. This is going to help you achieve mental clarity. So you want to have that space and time for yourself first thing in the morning. So what do you do when you first wake up in the morning? That's the question you want to ask yourself. And this is where we want to start implementing our discipline, is first thing in the morning. Now, it's difficult, I understand that, for a person to get up early in the morning, to get up before everybody else. You may be already getting up pretty early in the morning. So I'm asking you to get up even earlier, and you're like, no, I don't want to get up any earlier. However, we have to make sacrifices in order to gain the things that we want, right? It goes back to what I was saying a second ago. If you don't discipline yourself, someone else is going to discipline you. And if you don't discipline yourself to achieve your dreams, someone will discipline you to achieve theirs, right? So if you don't discipline yourself to achieve your dreams, someone will discipline you to achieve theirs. So that's something you want to think about. So get up before everybody else in your house. Number one, first thing, be the first person to wake up. This way you have the whole area in which you live to yourself. Okay? Get up before anybody else. Now, there are a number of things that you can do to start with your self-discipline. And I'm going to recommend a few things. One of the first things that is really beneficial for you to do when you get up is to meditate. Okay, you want to establish a meditation practice. This is the key to your mental clarity. This is going to be the key to your mental clarity. Okay, so you find a specific spot in your home that you can be alone by yourself. And again, we're up early in the morning before everybody else, so you can pretty much choose, right, what place is conducive for you to sit down and meditate. You want to have the same thing happen every single morning at the same time. Okay? You want to have the same thing happen every single morning at the same time. So I'm going to give you an example. Say, for instance, you wake up, and I'll use myself as an example. I wake up every morning at 4:50. Every single morning. It doesn't matter. Every morning I wake up at 4:50. I get up, I go to the space that I use to meditate in, and I meditate from 5 a.m. until 5:30. Okay? This is something that you might want to, I'm not saying do it exactly like I do it, but maybe 5 minutes, maybe 10 minutes, maybe 20 minutes. But you want to, the first thing you do when you get up is to go to your meditation seat, sit down and meditate. That's number one. Now, the second thing you want to do is maybe sit down and write, right? Or maybe do a physical yoga practice. For instance, after I finish my meditation, I immediately pull out my book and I start writing. I'm I'm writing 2 or 3 different things at this particular moment. Right now, I'm working on a book, and I also write ideas that I have for what I want to talk about, and just random ideas. So I give myself that time for a creative outlet to write, and then after that, I do a physical yoga practice. Now, this is something that it seems kind of simple, but it's extremely powerful, because what you're doing is you're training your mind to help you to elevate. Okay, you are enhancing your mental capabilities, right? In order to be able to clear out the mind and allow the fresh new things to come in. It's like you can't, if you're having a conversation with somebody and you are waiting to respond, you know what I mean? Like you hear what they're saying, but you're waiting like, okay, wait a minute. Because you hear a point they made, and so you're thinking about your rebuttal or your response to their point, but you're not really listening to what they're saying. And so right after they finish talking, you come in. Well, you've missed all of the stuff that they were talking about. Okay? And that's the same thing that we're talking about when you first get up in the morning. When you first get up in the morning, if you start consuming media, be it social media, be it YouTube, your phone, whatever. If the first thing you do is pick up your phone, you are not allowing yourself to think. Okay, you're not allowing yourself to think. You're seeing all these things come at you, and you're immediately having responses to those things that you're seeing. Okay, you are not getting fresh thoughts. Okay, you're not getting fresh thoughts. You're getting thoughts that are being presented to you via social media, via YouTube, via whatever it is. You're not getting fresh thoughts. When you get up first thing in the morning, okay, and you sit down and you have that meditation space, what you're doing is allowing thoughts to come. So, contrary to popular belief, we do not generate thoughts. We think. Okay? We do not generate thoughts, we think. Thoughts come from somewhere else. When the thoughts come from somewhere else, we have a thought and we think about the thought. We think, oh, why am I thinking about going to this, specific thing this morning? Right? A thought comes to you, says, you know what? Go talk to this particular individual. And you're like, why did that thought come to me? I don't understand. And so you start thinking about the thought, and you're like, okay, maybe it applies to this, maybe it applies to that, and then you do the thing. You talk to the person and you do the thing. Well, that thought came from somewhere else. It didn't come from you. You did not generate that thought. You reacted to the thought with your thinking. When you're in a consistent meditation practice, you're able to allow those thoughts to come, and you're not receiving thoughts from somewhere else. You're not receiving thoughts from social media, from the internet. You're not receiving thoughts. The thoughts are coming to you. Like you're not receiving thoughts from a source other than your higher self, because that's where your thoughts come from. Your thoughts come from your higher self, or they come from social media or another person or something like that. You want to be able to tap into your higher self. You want to be able to tap into the great mother. You want to be able to get those pure thoughts. And the way that you get those pure thoughts is through meditation. You do your meditation and then you sit down and you start your writing process. Like, I highly recommend for you to write after you do your meditation. It's been so beneficial to me. It's super beneficial to a lot of folks because that's when you're the freshest. And even if you're not a writer, even if you're not writing a book or anything like that, and even if you're one of those people that don't resonate with journaling, some people don't like to journal. Like, I don't want to write all my thoughts down. I don't want to do that. But random stuff, it doesn't have to be anything important. It doesn't have to be anything profound. Just after you finish that meditation practice, sit down with a notepad and a pen in your hand and watch and see what happens. Watch and see what happens. You're gonna start writing. It's an excellent way to allow the thoughts that have come to you during your meditation to come out and onto paper, and you can look at them. Okay? So, mental clarity. We want mental clarity so we can receive the thoughts that are coming to us. We want the mental clarity so we can receive the thoughts that are coming to us, and we can think about those thoughts. Now, there's a point where you can overthink the thoughts, and that's something I'll get into in another segment. So, mental clarity, and how another avenue of establishing the mental clarity or keeping your mental clarity is what you do for a living. Like, what's your job? What do you do? Do you work in a factory? Do you work in a restaurant? Do you work in an office at a desk? This is very, very key, very, very important, because it can also help you progress in whatever it is that your job is, whatever it is that you're doing. There are certain jobs that you don't have to pay 100% attention to when you do them. Okay, there are certain jobs that you may have that you do not have to pay 100% attention to them when you're doing them. Okay? Let's say, for instance, that you work in a restaurant, okay, and you make food. You cook food. Now, there's in this day and age, everybody has an earpiece in their ear. Everybody has some music or a podcast or something going on in their head when they're doing that type of work, when they're in the kitchen cooking, doing stuff. 9 times out of 10, they've got an earpiece in one ear, and the other ear is free to listen to people asking or for things that they need, right? So and I'm speaking about myself too, because I play with this also. You are not 100% there. Okay? You are not 100% there. You've got 2 different things going on. You're listening to something, actually 3 different things, right? You're listening to something, you're doing the physical work, whatever it is, and then you're listening to someone else speak to you. So you got all these things going on. This is called confusion. My wife, she says confusion is the devil. Because you do not get the full benefit of thoughts of what you're doing when you are confused. It's harder for you to do the task, and you're not doing your best. Be here now. I say that a lot of times at the beginning of a yoga class. Be here now. What are you doing? You are creating some food for somebody. Okay, so all of your focus, attention, and awareness needs to be in the food that you're creating at that particular time. What happens is your energy gets transmitted into the food. We all know this, it's been scientifically proven that thoughts and emotions can control the molecules in water. Everything we eat and drink, it has liquid in it. Everything that we, it's consistent. It consists of, molecules and all these other things that can be affected by our thoughts and feelings. This has been proven, scientifically proven. There's a Japanese scientist who did an experiment with water, and he had one glass of water, one container of water where Buddhist monks would pray over the water, and then another container of water where people were cursing and saying mean and hateful things at the water. And the water where the Buddhist monks were praying over, the molecules in the water took the shape of like beautiful snowflakes. It looked like snowflakes in these really complicated geometrical shapes and forms. It looked like someone had drawn it, had created it. It was beautiful. The molecules of the water where the people were, where they had the people saying mean things and cursing, it was all in disarray. It was all chopped up. The molecules were broken. It looked like chaos. Okay, so it's been scientifically proven that we know our thoughts, feelings, and emotions can affect the food and that we're dealing with. So if you're, like I said, in a state of confusion, this is going on in your ear, you're cooking, someone else is talking to you, you're distracted. So put all of your focus, attention, and awareness into the task that you are currently doing. Put all of your focus, attention, and awareness into the task that you're currently doing. Try your best to not worry about the morning that you have already experienced or the evening that you're about to step into. Bring all of your focus, attention, and awareness to the present moment. That's difficult, but with our morning practice, our morning meditation practice, it becomes a lot easier. We're able to, when you meditate on a consistent basis, you're able to slip into that meditative state in whatever you are doing, right? You're able to slip into the meditative state in whatever you're doing. You're cooking and you're focused 100% on the food that you're making. Someone, hey, can I get so and so? You're like, boom, automatic, you get it. You're doing it, right? There's no other distractions. You're in it, right? So at work, taking mental clarity at work, right? That is a way that you can achieve that is by being here now, right? Being here now. So how you do one thing is how you do everything. That's a saying that I heard. I've heard it a few different places. How you do one thing is how you do everything. So think about that. That's really poignant. You can not, say for instance, I'm going off on a tangent here a little bit, but okay, so you are not in the job that you want. You don't want to be at this job. You want to be at another job. You're working towards getting that other job, right? But the job you have now is not desirable to you, so you don't do the best. Think about that. You're not doing the best, but you're trying to reach towards something else. How you do this job is how you're going to do the job that you're trying to get. How you do one thing is how you do everything, right? So just putting that out there. So again, back to mental clarity. Big thing here. We all are on it, whether or not we want to be or not. I have a few people in my life that don't deal with it at all, and I'm impressed with them. I'm very impressed with them because I am, to a certain extent, attached I don't want to say addicted, but I'm attached to it. What am I talking about? Social media, right? Social media and mental clarity. Those two things don't. It's almost like no, those two things don't go together. There's no mental clarity when you're constantly consuming social media. And so, but can it be right? Can you achieve mental clarity back and forth? With the social media. Here's what I'm saying, and we all are aware of this. And if you're not, well, now you are. You can control your algorithm, right? You can control your algorithm. Someone says, man, all I see is people getting shot or somebody getting beat up or da 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 da. That's all I see on Instagram or on TikTok. That's all I see. That's all you're watching. That's one of the things about social media and about the algorithm is very interesting is it's gonna give you right back what you are watching the most, what you are honed in on, what you are focused on. It's gonna give that back to you. If you didn't know that, now you know, and I'm sure several of a lot of folks know this. You can control your algorithm, right? By watching purposely, like on purpose, purposefully watching the things that you feel are going to benefit you in the path that you're trying to take. The path that you're working on, what you're doing, what you're trying to achieve, you can train your algorithm to show you all of those things. Okay? Your thoughts control that algorithm. Now, I might get a little spooky with this, but at some point, your, I like to call them robots because that's what they are. Your cell phone, which is what I'm talking into right now, will be able to tap into the frequency of your thoughts. They're already doing it now. There's an experiment where you can sit down and put this thing on your head, and the other person puts the thing on their head, and you can mouth the words, right? You're not speaking them out, but you're thinking them and you're mouthing the words, and the person can hear the signals in their head and know what you're saying. So it's the technology is there, and who knows if they've implemented it already. Your thoughts can control your algorithm because your thoughts, what am I thinking about? And then you search it, and then it pops up, right? And then, like I was saying, soon you don't have to think. Soon you won't have to type it in. It's going to be directly connected to your thoughts, and it's going to give you everything that you're thinking about. But that's, you know, further down the road, we hope. So anyway, you can train and control your own algorithm. And this is a way that you can, a very, very, very good tool to help achieve that mental clarity that you're trying to get. Say, for instance, that, okay, you know what? I'm going to start meditating. You don't have a regular meditation practice. So, you know what? I'm going to start meditating. If you put the word meditation in your search, it's all these things are going to come up, and then hone in, and then go to someone's page and look at a couple of their things, and then go to someone else's page and look at a couple of their things, and then go to someone else's page and look at a couple of their things, and the next thing you know, that's all you're getting on your algorithm is meditation stuff. So control your algorithm. What is it that you're trying to achieve? And then put that out there. Put that in your algorithm so it will continue to come back to you. That's how you're gonna achieve that mental clarity. That, okay, you know what? This is what I'm focused on, and this is what I'm doing. And all that other stuff can be side stuff, right? Can be entertainment, right? So the one of the things that I like is it's called YouTube University. You know what I mean? YouTube is an excellent resource. You can learn about just about anything you want to on YouTube. And again, it goes back to your algorithms, what are you looking at the most? But one of the things about YouTube is it's gonna pull up, it's able to pull up long form content that has I guess because a lot, not all of it is true. There's a lot of people out there that's full of shit, but it gives you so much information that you're able to discern what is real and what is fake. You know what I mean? Because you can see a YouTube video and you're like, is this real? And type in, is this real? Or go to the comments and they'll show links on like, oh, this is not real, da da da. So you can do your research on YouTube University and get really to the core of what you're trying to work with, what you're trying to look at. So YouTube University is an excellent tool to use. I'm on YouTube, right? You might be watching this on YouTube. So what are you searching for? What are you looking for? Are you looking for things that are in alignment with what you're trying to achieve, or are you just entertaining yourself? Right? We want to be mindful of those kind of things when we're talking about mental clarity and trying to keep our mental clarity. I'm not saying don't watch nonsensical videos, like funny, silly videos. Yeah, of course you're going to do that. Of course you're going to do that for entertainment because it's out there, right? I'm not the type of person that says all or nothing. No, you have to mix it up. That's one of the things about life and getting the full benefit out of life, right? You can't be 100% spiritual and all this kind of stuff, but then not you're gonna miss out on life if you are sitting in a cave all day long meditating, or going to somewhere and just sitting all day long meditating and just strictly no, that's no. And there's an ancient yogi that he said that the person who goes off to the Himalayas to meditate away from everyone has lost his or her way. The person who gets completely engulfed in society has lost their way. There has to be a balance. You have to be half in and half out, right? Half in and half out. So anyway, talking about the social media and the clarity that we can get, and yeah, focusing on your goals when you're looking at YouTube, right? Use YouTube to hone in, right? Use YouTube to hone in and learn. So I want to finish this off, talk about something that's is it a topical, right? Something going on today. I've heard a lot of conversation about it, and so I'm going to put my 2 cents in on it. And so capitalism, right? There's a big conversation going on about capitalism and about how that capitalism is a negative thing, and especially these days, because we're looking at what's going on with these extreme capitalists and what they're doing to the world. It's heinous. We all see it. We all know what's going on. It's heinous what they're doing. And so automatically, you know what? Capitalism is the cause of all of this. We need to get rid of capitalism. I firmly disagree. Firmly disagree. Okay? Everything has the ability to, or has the or everything can be, I guess that's the best way to put it. Everything can be abused and misused. Right? We all know this. It goes back to the shovel. I can dig a hole with the shovel, or I can smash you over the top of the head. I can hammer in a nail and build a house with a hammer, or I can smash you over the head. I mean, there's What are we using these tools for? Okay? If you are a capitalist, you're making millions and millions of dollars. Where is your money being spent? That's where we look at the real change, the real change mechanism. Where are you spending your money? Are you spending your money on things that are going to help uplift your community? Are you providing things for your community with those millions and millions of dollars? Of course, you worked hard for it, you earned it, so you have a nice life, nice house, nice car, but there's always overflow. So with that overflow, where is it going? Where's it going? Are you providing services, doing what you can with the money that you have to provide services to your community? That's where I like to, you know, and socialism is a bad word. Some people say it's a bad word, but I think those two things can intertwine because there's a very good example uh, 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 how a piece of socialism can work, which is the fire department. Everybody knows the fire department, everybody pays for the fire department, right? If there's a fire at this guy's house, the fire department comes. And if there's a fire at this guy's house, the fire department comes. Everybody pays their taxes and pays for the fire department to go out and put out fires. We all agree that that's a really good thing. That's a little slither of socialism. I'm talking about communal socialism, the type that refers to your community doing what you can to help uplift your community with the funds that you get through your capitalism, through making money, right? And also, if you are or if you have a business that is, just say for instance, you have a yoga studio, right? And you are providing a service to the community with what you're doing, you're okay. Look, here's a yoga class. You give me money for it. It's almost as if that's people look at that like that's a bad thing. Like, oh, I'm paying for yoga. I shouldn't have to pay for yoga. See, that's where people and I'll speak on this real quick. There is in ancient times, the yogis received assistance, help, food, clothes from the village that they lived outside of. They lived outside of a village in a little hut in a cave, and the village people would come to the monk, to the yogi, and ask him questions. He would guide them spiritually, tell them when the best time it was to plant their crops, gave them all kind of advice, and in turn they took care of him. Okay, now if you are providing a service to someone, you're teaching someone a yoga class, they get benefit from that yoga class. Man, that was a great yoga class. How is the best way to What's the best way and the quickest way and the easiest way that they can show their appreciation for that class? To give you money, to take money, right? It's about intention, and it's about what's behind it. It's about what's behind the giving, and most especially, it's what's behind the receiving. As yoga teachers, studio owners, the receiving, right? So that's a whole nother topic because, and I'll say this and I'll leave it alone, but there are some yoga studio owners that don't practice yoga, and that's what we have to look at. Okay, you know, when people get into the idea of there shouldn't be capitalism in yoga, well, in that case, I agree. If you don't practice yoga and you own a yoga studio, that's a huge contradiction. Okay? That's a huge contradiction. So, yeah, anyway, off of the soapbox. So, mental clarity, right? Mental clarity. How do we get that mental clarity? We first set up a discipline, okay? Set up a practice that you do every single morning, making sure you're getting up before everybody else. Throughout the day, you're focusing 100% on what it is that you have going on in front of you. Be here now. And your social media. How are you training your algorithm, right? What are you putting into your algorithm? Are you putting things in your algorithm that are in alignment with what you are trying to achieve, right? So, any questions, comments, concerns, you know what to do. Until then, my friends, peace.